Hey, everybody, this is episode one of our Cybersecurity Defense Ecosystem series. And we're going to be doing something at least once a month. And we're going to be trying to break down the journey into, bite-sized chunks of how do we help channel partners, particularly MSPs, to go into a cybersecurity first MSP and hopefully maybe an MSSP version of their current MSP. So that's the overall mission. The plan here, of course, is very simple. How do we help the channel community to improve their cybersecurity game so they can do better at cybersecurity protection for themselves and their clients? And if we're able to achieve this, the hope is they're going to do it for more people, better, stronger, and therefore, it's going to be overall a better impact, right, in the cybersecurity
People can sleep during
challenges
the
that we
night.
all face
Yeah.
every day.
Mhm.
This session, I'm kicking this off with two of my close friends here, Nim and Evgeniy, and then of course both are CISOs, and they're both coming from an MSP world. And we're going to talk about their journey as well to give you an introduction of who they really are. Like, man, if I was an MSP or an MSSP and I wanted to rock this world out, I'm going to be having these two gentlemen at my table, and just because they know this stuff inside out. So let's talk first of all. Lim, I'm going to have you introduce yourself first and talk a bit about your journey in the MSSP world and why are you here today?
Thank you, Julian. Well, been in the MSSP and technology industry for a very long time, in tech altogether, almost 29 years, in MSSP for almost a decade. Um, and the one thing that makes me excited about these sessions that we're hosting is um, we get to make our community stronger. And we establish a forum that allows our community to talk to each other in a safe way and grow together. Because we're all, in my mind, we're all superheroes. We just wear different color capes and we have to make sure that we get together and we have one mission. And our mission is to secure our customers who are innocent victims of the bad actors from the dark side of the universe, the dark web. And it excites me to help this group of superheroes become more resilient and more stronger and offer good things to their customers.
Yeah, and of course, I would encourage everybody to reach out in their LinkedIn profiles and see what Nim does. He sort of shortened up his career there, but he understands his gig pretty well. So, this is the kind of experts, by the way, that we all need to help guide us. And Evgeny, of course, he comes from Bergevik, and but tell your story, man.
And definitely. I've been in cyber for almost 25 years. Did 5 years in the Navy back in Israel. Worked for a very big cybersecurity provider called Checkpoint in Israel. Moved to Canada and been working, used to work with Horjovic Group for almost 17 years. If people don't know, if you ever watched Shark Tank with Dragon Den, Robert Horjovic, he built one of the probably first privately owned and big VAR and MSSP in Canada until a couple of years ago. I had the experience to join the company in 2006 as an engineer and move all the way from engineer, leader, group manager to VP of architecture and design. So I touched kind of almost every technology, especially the main one, understood how it's working, how to sell it to the customer, how to architect it for the customer need and not just give it to them. And one of the things I always like is one, I want to have a connected architecture and design that staff can talk to each other and create better decisions and help. But two, I'm very big believer of people need to do what they want and need to do. It's mean if you are a shawarma shop, an ice cream shop, or selling clothes, this is your main business. This is what you need to do. And cybersecurity is something else. So part of my job to help people to do their main business and not figure out how they need to solve backups or ransomware. So we need to provide them the infrastructure, the awareness, the information they need to be secure, and they can able to do the main job they're supposed to be doing.
And as if that was not enough, he actually had time to write a book. Tell us a little bit about the book before we jump there. And Nim, I'm going to ask you about the book you're about to write. Oh, there you go.
I'm
If you
gonna
don't,
say
Nemo, by the end
Evgeny's
of the
book
day,
is pretty good. It's pretty. If you don't have it, you should get a copy.
Yeah,
the
I
book came
read it, by
out.
the way.
Thank you. And you're
Two
still doing
minute what's that thing? 2-minute bite size.
Bite access, yes.
It's
Yes, they're
Yeah,
still doing them.
I
Yeah.
still do it, my friend.
So the main idea came like from the book is that we have a lot of people in technology, boys and girls, that are very, very smart, but not always capable to communicate their ideas in the language other people understand. And this includes sales as well. So for the MSSPs that watching, we sometimes using not the language other people understand, not the metaphors people understand. And it became even harder when we connect people over Zoom, Teams, and Google's Meets. So we need to find a different way, quicker way to connect to people and explain our ideas, get to their level, and be able to kind of connect more on a personal level. This is a very, very short summary of the book. There was much more in the book, definitely.
We're going to be talking more about the book. And of course, Nim, you didn't write a book yet, but you could write a book, right? But if you were going to write a book, Nim, what book would you write?
I don't know. I think it would be very dramatic. I would, title it Betrayal. Because the philosophy of MSSP, it's the love triangle, right? You've got the MSSP, you've got the customer, and you've got all the other vendors this customer is working with that you as MSSP are bridging security for. And in the middle is a lot of feelings. And, lately customer sentiments come across with the word betrayal. And so that's what I would do. It would be a drama, like one of those books you can't put down.
Well, there we go. Well, to be continued, my friend. Of course, there's a third amigo here that's missing. We'll introduce him at next. He couldn't make it for this session. So we'll introduce him as a mystery guest for the next episode. So we'll keep people thinking about that.
Betrayal and mystery. This is a thriller.
Well, there you go. we're doing a Netflix series here, my friend. So look, we all kind of got together and figured out how do we help the channel to be bigger, better, stronger, and smarter in cybersecurity. And quite honestly, I feel like the imposter here because I'm the least qualified in cybersecurity than everybody. But I was at least intelligent enough to know what I don't know. And so I reached out to folks who actually know this stuff. And the question was very simple. How can we come together as a community and help the channel partners to get this job done better? Because what I saw was a lot of folks pretending, doing, that they're good at cybersecurity, but they were not. And I must admit, there was a period probably in 2023 when I said, it's just not going to work because it was so complicated to become a cybersecurity company, right? That you couldn't hire the people, you couldn't, even if you could hire them, it was very expensive. The cost of building a SOC was impossible, was in the millions, and it was just simply out of reach, right? And then in 2024, we saw AI, bubbled up and started to, improve the game, allowed people to do more with less reliance on, skilled talent, humans. And then I go, wow, hey, maybe, just maybe we can actually get this job done. And of course, we all seen the advancements of AI over the last months, right? It's really accelerating and helping to improve the cybersecurity. Let's kind of start there, if you will, right? Because I know what we talk about today is going to change in the next 30 days with AI. But what is your take on how AI is changing the game for cybersecurity from an MSP perspective?
You want to start? You want me to start?
You go first, Evgeniy.
So let's think about that. AI been around for some time, definitely. The generative AI, a bit less time. And as you mentioned, it's moving in a very, very fast pace. And it's almost everything in technology. It creates a capability, but then we start thinking about the security aspect of this. We had ChatGPT. Wow, people start putting information there they're not supposed to be putting. Now we need to have privacy. Do we need to allow people to put this information there? Oh, how are we going to secure the LLMs? How make sure the AI will not do something else we're not supposed to be doing? So AI created an opportunity, but also a challenge. But to answer your question, there's many different directions with how AI can help MSPs or MSSPs. So let's start from a basic one. In majority of the MSPs and MSSPs, we have levels in the SOC, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Some people call it a bit differently. But in reality, tier 1 is the people that doing 24/7, that have set of things they need to do based on playbooks. Ideally, there's a playbook, not just kind of, oh, what I gotta do today. So they see something, they're doing something, almost like a workflow. And the more mature you are, the more playbooks you have, the better you can respond and quicker to whatever happening. Where I'm going with this, if the playbooks are defined really well, if the information we're getting kind of expected in variety of levels, then AI can start automate the workflow, or even in the beginning, tell the people how to do it quicker. Hey, here's how you do it quicker. This is the playbook you use. And by the way, when you respond to the customer, you're responding to the right customer and not to the wrong customer because you're so overwhelmed and it's 2 a.m. in the morning. So one is helping people to do their job faster, better already. Two, taking away some of the task and doing it itself. So we kind of slowly going from eliminating tier 1 and have basically tier 1 doing the tier 2 job more, or tier 1.8. This is what I see. In the beginning, there's much more, of course.
Mhm.
And Nim, how do you see AI impacting the job of an MSP,
You know,
cybersecurity?
building on what Evgeniy said, I had an interesting conversation with one of our clients a few weeks ago. And he said, "Hey, Nim, can your firm come in to do an assessment on our MSSP?" I'm like, "Oh, why? What happened?" He said, "Well, I have a feeling like we're getting these canned emails and they're using AI to respond to us. And I feel like we're not getting our money's worth." And so I asked him, "Would you rather they don't use AI to respond to you?" Like, I don't understand the problem. He goes, "Well, what am I paying for? Right?
Mm.
If they're using AI, where's the value add?" And I said, "Well, that is the value add." And thankfully, this week, we saw a news announcement by a company called Shopify. Shopify CEO was very clear. All new hires frozen unless you can prove to me that AI cannot fulfill the requirements of this task. So, as MSSPs, we're at that advent of innovation where if we can adopt an agentic workforce, so using AI agents to deliver some of the capabilities, like Evgeny was saying, that level one ticketing being like sort of the stable stakes, right? We have the opportunity to focus on adding value and generating thought leadership and insights and improving the customer security than previously what we were doing, such as, trying to correlate logs, looking for events, chasing things that, now an agentic workforce can focus on taking care of for us. I'm not going to call it low value work. That is tremendous work. That is work that we've been doing for years. But now there's an opportunity to improve that, right?
I want to add quickly, if possible, it's a repetitive work. It's not low
Yes.
value. It's a very repetitive and hard work.
Yes.
And in many cases, people just tired and overwhelmed.
Fatigue.
Yes, so fatigue. So it's very, and AI is good to sort a lot of information. And this is the good part when you take it, when you give the information and not try to come up with information. This is a
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. It's a new tool.
So, without a doubt, we are going to see the conversation of AI go deeper and wider in the world of cybersecurity. In the news media business, as we talk to all these cybersecurity gods out there and and using AI, we're seeing that they can actually reduce the actual noise level from tickets to by 90%. We're seeing that they can actually do automated mediation, right? So they can actually do things even without you having actually to do them, right? It can generate reports so you can actually understand what's going on and so on. And I just want to add one little point about there is that as the AI learns more and more, right, from all different sources, then it's going to actually be able to help everybody to do better with AI without you doing anything else. because the machines are learning, right? And experiences from other sources is going to help implement and make things better. So I just want to say, buckle up, right? Because AI is going to help a lot more than we know. And of course, on the flip side of this, the bad actors are using AI as well. So phishing is getting a bit better, the words are getting better, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about a little bit about the bad actors here. So who are we defending? We got state actors and we have the regular bad actors and we have the wannabe bad actors, right? Who are we defending from, man? What are these hackers up to these days?
It's definitely an interesting, I had another meeting this morning where these numbers are fresh in my head. We are 10 days into the month of April, and there's already 15 ransomware attacks that are, being reported that are related to this month, right? We're only one quarter into the year, and there's 192 ransomware events, and within the month of April itself, and then 2,600 from January to now. It's insane how quickly these bad actors are able to get in and get across. And when somebody asks me, what are we defending? What are we defending against? My answer is very controversial. You're defending against your weakest employee because this is where the threat begins. It's somebody interacting, plugging, clicking, downloading, communicating without that foresight. And usually 80% of the time, insider threat is a genuine action that the person believed that they were doing the right thing. They were not being malicious. But in my opinion, you're always protecting the company against the weakest employee because it's the human that's going to screw up.
I want to add something from a different direction. Probably around 15 years ago, we were talking about, for you to be a hacker, you need to learn a lot of programming, a lot of networking, OSs, you're going to be hardcore. And then you don't need to. You can be script kiddies. So you go into the web, you find a script, you go click, 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 and you're able to do it. It's like, oh my God, this is so easy. Anyone can become a bad guy. And this is where AI come in. So right now, you kind of lower this plank even less. Because with AI, they can use the AI to go faster and try different methodologies much, much faster as well. And not just that, Nin mentioned employees, fraud, and to trick. I'm not even talking about financial fraud right now. It's a different story, different show. To trick the employee that you're somebody else could be much easier using a voice generation technique, using a document, using somebody else. As one of the famous attacks probably is to call someone and tell them you're from IT help desk and you're trying to help them. So we can find the IT helps for the company. We can potentially find their face, do a Zoom call and say that I'm Neem. Actually, probably not. I'm not so beautiful, but not such a good hair. Okay, let's talk about it.
We'll still clone you, man. We're going to clone you anyways.
There you go.
So the level to get in, it's much easier as well. Now, I'm not trying to scare everyone, but we are trying to bring awareness. And in many cases, people think, it's not going to happen to me, not going to happen to me. But in reality, the bad guys, in many cases, don't even know who they're attacking. It's just a very wide script that's going. And if they see someone, they can get in, they will get in.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's like $59 a month. Ransomware as a service, right?
That's it.
It's not. It's affordable, man. And I wonder if they take credit cards. I don't know. But look, the other thing about when you mention Nim about insider threats, it's not just bad actors attacking that person's credential to get in. An insider threat could actually be an insider threat, right? A disgruntled employee, someone who's going under some stress and whatever, someone who can be bought, right, et cetera, et cetera. So, be careful because it's not just the folks from outside the perimeter. It can also be folks from within the perimeter. So, we're going to have sessions that we're going to talk about hackers. We're going to actually bring some hackers on and we're going to dig into their minds to figure out what's going on. But this is, of course, that's who we're fighting against, right? And then please don't let us even talk about state actors yet, because if they've got it for you, they're gonna get in anyways. And worse these days, we're seeing state actors working with regular bad actors because economic disruption, cyber warfare is alive and well. And so there's a lot of different elements of this, right, that we're talking. You want to jump in there?
Yeah, so I was going to say, Julian, one of the most important things too is MSSPs.
Mm.
Nearly, I would say 75 to 85% of the breaches happen through a supplier. It's a third party
Oh my
breach.
God.
So
Yep.
we are the third party as MSSPs.
Yep.
It's our employees who are fatigued, overwhelmed, looking at too many signals across too many customers and too many different panes of glass that end up doing something that compromises us, which then allows the bad actor to move laterally into our different customer environments.
It's the
So,
worst case
ago,
scenario, isn't it, man? Being an MSP is the attack vector because you get one, you get many. And so another big reason why the CDE exists, because if you don't protect yourself, right, your customers are vulnerable. Evgeniy, what do you wanted to say?
this is not just protection. It also could be an architecture and design. Long time ago, when I work at Hardware Group, we acquired the company, and the way they work, it will be a direct VPN connection to a customer. Actually, in a way, we're as well. So, if something happened to you, it's a amount of minutes, the moment you protect the customer. So, redesign the way to connect to customer. It was like several levels. So you can have to use a jump box before you go there. There's going to be some firewalling and initial test between you can even connect to a customer. Then at least we create some kind of air gap, but some kind of gap before you go to a customer. And then even next levels, then you remove VPNs and you have additional layers to have different way of jump boxes to connect to customers to make sure this has not happened. Because unfortunately, even you have a lot of protections, something may happen to you, but you create controls. If anybody been in submarine or in a ship, you also there's different dividers. They design by definition. If one of the rooms get breached, you can quickly close and it will be able to float. Many examples create like this. We're not talking yet about recovery and policies and all this stuff, but they're fundamentally important how you architect.
absolutely, yeah.
It's one of those things when you look at cybersecurity, right? It's so complicated, man, right? That I don't even think that 5 years ago, I don't think anyone really knew it was going to be this complicated. Honestly, I certainly didn't, right? Pandemic was, when it came about, and all of my cybersecurity friends start saying, "Hold on, man, it's coming. The wave is here," right? Because we're all working now from remotely, and the perimeter just disappeared overnight, right? And the reality is that this genie is not going back in the bottle, right? This is out. It's game over. That's it. We're working from anywhere, however, whenever, right? And then you talk about supply chain. You're only as strong as the weakest link. Then what about all the suppliers and their suppliers and their suppliers, right? I mean, look, there's a lot of ways that bad actors can get into the game. And we're just saying you got to start somewhere, all right?
I do want to give kudos to MSPs because I think MSPs hold a very important part that is part of cyber, and it's backup and recovery. So we're not going to dive in, but the MSPs, at least in my mind, they're the ones that usually maintain the backups versus MSSPs in many cases. And this is the reason why to connect to them later on, but it is important to have the backups because you don't know what's happened. If you have the backups, then you can recover.
Yeah, and then they can actually get into the backup too. But you know what? This is a great point. So here's the thing. Our philosophy, we've been in the channel for, decades, right? And I believe, everybody that I know believe that the channel, these MSPs, is the army that is separating business, government from craziness, right? If you were to remove all the doctors in the country, instantly, what would happen? It'd be a catastrophe, I would imagine, right? Right? Medical things would go crazy. People start dying like left, right, and center. Well, look, if you were to remove all the MSPs, evaporate them like that, teleport them to Mars, let's say, what would happen to every business and government today? It disappear.
Probably not able to connect to the internet and have a lot of many different problems, and not having a local network as well.
Absolutely. Some of these, cell systems have been knocked out for just a couple of days and the whole country went crazy, right? The reality is this. The world is running on tech, and tech is kept running by the MSP channel community, period. This is why and it's not just an essential service, it's a critical service in the world of a digital first economy, right? Everything is digitized. We're all moving into, this digitized world, if you will. And it's the MSP community that has the tough job of protecting all the businesses, all the governments, all the end customers from being attacked. And I'll just add one statistic that I know extremely well. And I don't know why the number is at 95% and not 100%, but let's assume the 5% were asleep. So an end customer, there's a 95% chance that an end customer will switch their channel partner, an MSP, from an MSP A to MSP B, if the MSP B can prove to the end customer that they can do a better job in protecting them from cybersecurity. I don't know of any other industry where there's a 95% chance of switching because of this one element, but that's what the data is showing. And I don't know what the other 5% were thinking, but the reality is that you're vulnerable, and cybersecurity is something that's real. By now, if you don't know this, I suggest you do a little bit of research, but it's a real thing. And the recovery probability, forget the money you have to pay out to get it fixed, right? But the recovery is not always guaranteed. You're not always guaranteed your company can recover. You're not always guaranteed that database backup is going to work, right? And if it does, you might have to go back months down, in the past to find a clean version, which means the work you did for the last umpteen months may not even be, usable anymore. The bottom line here is that it's bad news, man, right? For any business, if you lose that, and your credibility, your identity, your social clout, whatever, is going to have a massive impact. So, and as if that was not enough, you've got compliance issues coming into the game now, right? We can talk a bit about this now. Compliance issues, regulations, cybersecurity insurance. And by the way, if you lie on your cybersecurity insurance policy, you're not going to get paid. All right. So let's talk a bit about how governments are finally getting into the game by saying, look, you have to be compliant because you're playing with people's information, right? Talk about how important the industry is going to become regulated, where at some point, if you're not regulated or licensed or compliant, you might not even be able to practice. Nim, you want to jump on that since you're a cybersecurity?
Yeah. What I can say about the MSSP space is that we have a lot of what I would call carpenter's houses, right? We're working so hard to do the right build, the right setup, the right configuration for our clients that many times our home is half built. And this is where the trouble stems from, is the cost of, we're a cost basis business, where as MSSPs, we build our models on a per user basis to our customer. So there's cost per user that's charged back to the client, and that's where the revenue comes from. Well, there's no cost in that number baked for, well, a percentage of this goes towards fixing the house, right? Otherwise, a lot of us will price ourselves out of the market. How do you build models where we're able to focus on establishing governance and compliance and have proper enterprise risk within our MSSP businesses? That's going to be absolutely key. So how, and if it's not something you can do in-house, how do you get the funds to do it externally, to bring in a consultant to establish that for you? Because it's becoming more and more relevant. Yes, in Canada, our 26 and 27 are on hold until Parliament comes back in, and who knows when those bills will be passed and tabled and passed, but it is inevitable. Maybe not this year, but a year from now,
Coming.
they will be here. What we don't have in North America is a standard like DORA, where in Europe, European MSSPs that are doing, services for the financial sector are being held to a very high standard of compliance and regulatory capabilities. Just a matter of time before something like that comes out over here. You might as well get ahead of it because that not only prevents you from getting victimized. Compliance is not security, but gives you the lens of what you need to secure in order to become compliant, which makes you holistically a much better service provider to your customers as well. Right? And that's worth something. That's a story to go and tell them. Hey, you're looking at switching us out, but you do know we have all these designations. We've actually accomplished this, and here's our assessment that proves we've done these things. It's not just we're compliant, but because of that, we're also secure.
Absolutely. And by the way, government's one thing, they got to sue you and fine you or whatever. But I'm more afraid of the insurance companies because they ain't going to pay. They're not going to pay. All right. When you burn your house down, you want to build a new house. And, if your insurance company decides not to pay, right, you can't rebuild, right? I mean, hey, man, just using that analogy, look what happened in, LA with the recent fires, right? You ain't going to get full value. And how do you rebuild, right? It's you don't want to get there is what I'm really saying, right? If you're getting there, I don't know. You can roll the dice, you might make it, you might not make it, but it's you want to prevent this from happening, right? So there are lots of other things coming in. Evgeniy, you want to add anything to the compliance world and regulations?
Yes. Yeah. So we have the SOC 2 compliance that has his hit and misses. Unfortunately, this is the current standard. I have my love-hate relationship to this part because there's many nuances. And for people that listen to us right now, if you're working with your party vendor, if they have SOC 2 compliance, it doesn't mean that everything is great. It means that they have a SOC 2 compliance. You want to actually read the SOC 2 and understand what's written there, because SOC 2 compliance, it's a compliance against yourself. You kind of decide what it will be compliant against. While there are some criteria, still the devil in the detail. So this is one part. I know Canada is working on its own, but it's been around for a long time. So I'm not sure what's exactly going to happen with this part. In general, when you're working with people beside the compliance part, you want to create your own set of questions when working with MSSP, MSP, or other third-party providers, what you want them to have. And it's probably another different show where we can dive into third-party management and what to ask, what to know, and what to think about it.
Look, I mean, this is just day one, all right, of this mission. And what we built so far, by the way, just as a kind of a recap for everybody out there. So we launched this in November of 2023, believing fully well that it will fail. I had very little confidence that it would succeed. But, you got to try. And so we spent last year, we did 5 events across the US, and we went and found out what do you want? Like, where are we at? All right, are you okay with cybersecurity? Do you need help? What do you need help in? Do you even know what you don't know? And what we found is that building a community where everyone can sort of come together and share, exchange ideas, and find out how to improve their game is really step one. That's what we really learned. Everybody is have a hunger, right, to connect with like-minded people in this game to figure out how to work together and make it happen. So what have we built so far? So we've got about so far we've been able to be very lucky and got about 5,800 MSP members that has joined for free. So it's easy to join for free. So that was step one. So they kind of came in and learned a little bit about what was going on. We were able to figure out the big list of cybersecurity vendors and boil it down to about 240. We're slowly chipping away at that because we think that's way, way too many. We're hoping to have it down to maybe 50 to 75 vendors over time. And we actually worked with a whole bunch of different partners who have platforms that helps MSPs to, improve their game. Full disclosure, some platforms did not work. We learned it the hard way, but we replaced it and we're improving and getting better. We're also adding some interesting platforms in AI to help them to improve their game as well. So things are getting interesting because we're seeing tools that can actually help MSPs in this cybersecurity game. And this community would be nothing, literally nothing, without the community of CISOs, right? Nim, Evgeniy, and the others in their world, because without these folks who understand cybersecurity at the DNA level, everything else is just, I don't want to say the word, but smokes and mirrors and BS. The reality is at some point in your journey, you're going to have customers that you're going to have to protect. And you're going to have to be really sure that you're protecting them. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble because they're going to get hit. And you don't want to be in that position, obviously, right? And this is why, if I was to peel back the onion of all the other things we do, right, you need to hook up and partner with a CISO. And let's call them a virtual CISO or a CISO, and whenever you want to describe these folks, but you need to have a CISO in your community, in your ecosystem. And so this is one of the things we're offering, right? So as an example, here are two CISOs. So if you're having struggles and what to do, reach out to them, reach out to Evgeniy today, all right? And they're gonna ask you some questions and have a conversation to figure out what's wrong. Where can they help? And rest assured that if it's a cybersecurity problem, they're going to be able to find the answer. And they have also access to a large network as well to pull in when we need to. So we have an army, a little micro army out there that we can leverage in just about every single area. So even if you're an actual CISO and you need help in orchestrating all your different solutions, we've got solutions for that as well. So this is day one, all right, of 2025. I like to think of this as phase 2 of the CDE. We took phase 1 to learn, and phase 2 is now when we're going to actually put it in the road and accelerate. And so to the MSPs out there who are members, thank you for joining. For those who would like to join, it's free still. So check it out. And what do you get? You get access to a community. How you use the community, I don't care. It's entirely up to you. We're going to have events. You can come to the events. You can reach out to folks like Nim and Evgeniy and others. We have some solutions we've posted on the website that we're starting to vent, right? And some of them are there already, so you can select those. Some partners we're showcasing. You can scroll around. There's some video as well about some of the partners we've signed up. And then you could just figure out what you need. What do you get as a membership? We're still trying to figure all this out, but I can tell you one thing you'll get. Once a month, you'll get one newsletter that outlines everything that's available to you. And you're going to get one of these podcast video things that kind of explains a few things and showcase some other products. And of course, there's access to each channel news as well, where you can have more content and literally hundreds and hundreds of cybersecurity solutions. So, I mean, that's kind of like all I have. I don't have a script on this, but I want to leave Nim and Evgeniy with you guys at the last word. And who wants to go first and then second? Evgeniy, you want to kick this off as a
Good.
what's your last words, my friend, about the world of channel partners, MSPs, and what are we trying to do here to help them?
So first of all, the world is moving very fast and security moving with it. So you do want to understand what's happening there. And I would like you to focus on your business to supporting your customers and help us tell you what's new in cyber, what to do and where it's going, because this is what we do day by day.
Perfect. Nim?
My parting thoughts are going to be, as an MSSP, let's focus on strength and resiliency, and let's focus on your strength and resiliency. Because in order to help others, you have to make sure you're fit enough to help them.
There you go, my friend. As they say in the airplane, right? If the oxygen things come down, put your mask on first before helping the neighbor, because if you go, then how do you help your neighbors?
Yeah.
Look, I'll part this by just saying, join if you like. Look at it if you want. It doesn't really matter to us. We're here to help the channel partners to improve their cybersecurity game, because we believe that if they do this well, they'll be able to protect more people and better, and that should push back on the cyber crime a bit, at least protect them better. And that's the mission. We hope we don't fail, right? But we're gonna give it a good try. And I just want to thank experts like Nim and Evgeniy and all the others, thousands of people that has joined the community to kind of help us solve this problem. I know it's a lot of things to talk about. And as they say, how to eat an elephant, that one bite at a time. So this is the first bite. We're gonna start to dig in deeper in every single episode, and we'll see how far we get, my friends. And again, we're always open for suggestions. Go to the website, cybersecurity-defense-ecosystem.com. You can, sign up for free. And if you have any suggestions or questions, let us know. And we're gonna help solve that problem one bite at a time. Nim and Evgeniy, thank you very much. Pleasure. Until next time, have a fantastic month. Cheers.